Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cozy Conversations. I'm Harshita Anand, and I am today with a beautiful person, Tanisha, who is the founder of the Yellow Brick Road, which is also a DEI consultancy. Now, today we will be talking about something very different, and this is a very different episode this time. We are going to be talking about different people's therapist stories, which are not that great. But we will be talking about what are the red flags, what are the green flags as a therapist. And we thought this might be a good idea to bring some stories to you so that it is a little less boring. Because, of course, just me talking about or Tanisha talking about red flags and green flags is going to bore you all out. So, beginning with, by the way, before we start, how are you, Tanisha?
Hi, I'm fine. I'm doing well. I was a little sick a couple of weeks back, but I'm getting better now. I'm recovering.
Okay. So today we will be picking up certain what do you call it? Certain posts which are like anonymous
Stories.
from Reddit or certain comments which are like anonymous. We are gonna anonymously tell stories, or we might tell certain other stories which are not from the net, but from our actual life, which we know about, right? And it's of course going to be anonymous. So are we ready, Tanisha? Because we are going to react to them. So be ready for some
Yeah,
expressive emotions or maybe just some comments, people.
yeah.
Okay.
This is a not so cozy conversation,
Yeah, this is not so cozy, but still, we will try to make
but
it
it
as,
will be fun. It will be fun.
yeah, it'll be fun. For once, we want to try something fun as well. Let's see if this does well or not. Okay,
Right.
first one. I was a 15-year-old girl suffering from horrible anorexia. I went to a social worker who encouraged me to lose weight, agreed that I was fat, and gave me a diet book. Okay, mic drop moment. What the hell?
Yeah. On my personal social media, I'm doing this series where I'm talking about like my experiences with eating and food and disordered eating and all of that. And the whole idea was because of this really toxic diet culture and this emphasis on like a one size fits all standard of beauty.
Yeah.
And it's the sound of that,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
mean, how can you, like, as a person who is aware of the other person's condition, I believe they were aware of the other person's condition, and in any way, who are you to comment on anybody's body? Like, I don't understand why do people think they are somewhere, entitled to comment on someone else's body, no matter what. And as a social worker or anybody, I mean, nobody should comment on somebody's body. That's horrible.
And especially when a person comes to you with an eating disorder, with body image issues, and also like it's not always a clear cut thing that like eating issues or eating disorders come because of body issues. There are other reasons as well, but uh, this is a really unhealthy situation. And this assumption that like fat people can't have anorexia is not at all true. And
I
when you
mean,
do start studying about it, when you start reading about it, you realize just like how complex the body is.
it's it's so horrible to basically, first of all, 15-year-old, right? We are teenagers. Teenagers already have a lot of body image issues a lot of times because puberty is hitting, the idea about what is my identity, the part about fitting in, belonging. And then on top of it, you go to somebody for help and they say, you need to lose weight and agreed that, you're fat and you gave a diet book. How dare you? How
Yeah,
dare
like this social worker has reinforced all of the self-critical, self-hateful, negative thoughts that this person holds about herself, and they've just reinforced it. And
so
I can only imagine just how long it took for this person to kind of A,
over.
recognize it's wrong, B, start to recover.
Yeah, I mean, now if I really think about it, to be very honest, this is a very big red flag. Like, run in the complete opposite direction because nobody is supposed to make a comment about your body or is supposed to judge you. And if you have any kind of eating disorder, they need to be a little more sensitive. Like, what is this? I mean, I don't think
Yeah,
so. I
like
see any empathy here.
yeah, like in medical professions, one of the first things about like the Hippocratic oath that they take is like do no harm. Whereas like I
Yeah,
will never do something to a patient or a client which is going to cause more harm than they're already in. And this
exactly.
is exactly what that is. This is doing so much more harm to this client. And like I can't even imagine being that 15-year-old girl and hearing that from a professional. Like hearing it from like random people in society is a different thing. Hearing it from a professional who is being paid to help you is a whole different world. I can't even imagine.
I don't know how to really. I mean, I think so. I'm at loss of words. But yeah, this is a red flag. We are not supposed to judge people. We are trying our best to be empathetic and non-judgmental and try to create a safe space. If this is an experience you have, run in the opposite direction or literally confront that
Yeah,
person and ask them, like, why did you say this? Like, but of course, in that moment you can't. So I understand. Just run. So another one is of a psychiatrist. Okay. My psychiatrist
which
made me,
I do have the link you're looking at. Which number is this?
this is
Number
the
12.
12th one. Okay, we
Oh,
both
okay.
are looking at, yeah. My
We're
psychiatrist made,
reading an article that's like available online. Yeah,
yeah, and
just
in
based
that
off
there
of
are
that.
Reddit posts. There are Reddit posts in that. And they're just taking those Reddit posts and trying to talk about them because I think so. Therapists need to react to this. My psychiatrist made me very uncomfortable when she asked me why I don't want kids. I told her I don't care for kids, and she told me to never admit that to anyone. Personal choices gone to a trash can.
Non-judgmental,
Non-judgmental. No,
acceptance, unconditional positive regard. Like these are these like I the words that I'm saying may sound complicated to someone who is a layperson, but this is what we learn in 11th grade in psychology. This is high school psychology that I'm talking about. This is like the very basic principles of therapy. Like I'm not even talking about like something complicated that okay maybe this therapist was not trained in a particular modality or like they didn't know how to handle this case. I'm talking about like what Harshita and I talk about are like the very basic foundations of psychology of non-judgmental attitude, unconditional positive regard.
just being sensitive, like empathy, non-judgmental. Like, how can you judge somebody for their choices? Like, first of all, you should not be doing that. Second of all, how dare you to tell that person never admit that to anyone? Excuse me, it's their choice.
Like I really want to give benefit of the doubt that like maybe this is a story from like someone living in Afghanistan or Iran or like a place where there is no a place where like you could maybe legally get into trouble if you say something like this. And I don't know if that's the situation in Afghanistan or Iran. I'm going based off of news articles and stuff, and I know the situation for women there is bad. And I so want to give benefit of the doubt, but considering this is on Reddit, it's probably biggest in the US, and even there it is not great for women's rights. But this is such a like a psychiatrist is supposed to be a safe space and you can admit things and like coming from a place of like I would say this to a client if they confess to crime, like cool, I am bound by confidentiality, but don't say this to anybody. Like don't confess anywhere. I would not do this if somebody is saying that like, oh, I don't like.
So I don't really understand, like, where are we headed? What is happening? I don't even know, like, whatever part of the world this is from. But at the end of the day, having kids or not having kids is something very, very personal. And somebody commenting on it and telling somebody that, oh, you should never admit that to anyone is like already there's a lot of shame around not having kids when it comes to women. Like, oh, you're not gonna have a child. Oh, what else is the purpose of your life? Not recreating, procreating, not reproducing a new life. This is what you were born for.
Okay,
So
but also just to clarify, like the story we are reading, it does not specify whether this person is male or female or what their gender
yeah,
identity
exactly.
is. So
So I mean,
it could also be that there's a guy who said this in psychiatrist therapy to the guy, which is also not okay.
yeah, I
Like
mean, you
just to
can
clarify,
be
like
a guy as well. So if it is a woman or a man or whoever it is,
yeah,
at the end of the day, it is your choice. And not wanting kids is not something you should be shamed about. I mean,
yeah,
whether a man or a woman, doesn't matter.
yeah. as long as you find a partner who is on the same page and you're not
That's
like trying to ruin each other's lives by forcing them to have or not have a child. Um, yeah.
that's the whole point. You can find a partner who is on the same page and you can be happily ever after, like whatever, but you don't have to be
Or
like,
like you can be by yourself if that's what you want, but it really is,
that's completely your choice. You
it's
want to
not,
kids, you want to
yeah,
reproduce kids, you don't want kids, whatever, up to you.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Another one, which is basically, I'm going to talk about a little bit where I know what happened. So I'm going to talk about a personal one. So
Okay.
I know somebody who went for self-harm diagnosis in the sense of like they were being assessed for what they are going through, like depression, anxiety, and they, as they committed to their psychiatrist that they have done self-harm in the past, so the psychiatrist sent them for a clinical assessment. Now, the clinical psychologist here was asking them, okay, why do they do self harm? Or, other questions around it. And then they were asked that, how do you do self harm? And they were given options that, okay, do you do it via this method, that method, whatever, A to Z, right? And then this person goes like, oh, I do it by A. I do it by
Hmm.
A. And then she goes like, oh, don't get any ideas from me, huh? Just because she stated all the options from,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
she goes like, oh, don't get any ideas from me, huh? And this is a serious assessment going on. I mean, at one point, it's like, why would you say that? I mean, what do you think people who are doing self harm are? Like, they try to get ideas out of every single place they go to and just do it because it's so much fun. I like to do it. I want to do it every single day, all the time. Like, that's an issue they are facing. That's a very sensitive issue. You can't joke about it like that.
Yeah, and like firstly, not all self-harm comes from a place of suicidality.
Exactly.
Secondly, I again like really trying to give benefit around, but in this situation I can't. But like if you are somebody who is actively in therapy with a therapist and you have that rapport
That's
and
true.
you do joke around about this topic
That's
and it's a part of your therapeutic relationship, that's a different, right? But if this is the first time you are meeting a client and
yeah.
this is your maybe your like maybe your way of trying to break the ice or like build a little bit of rapport or something, it's not the best approach. And there's a lot of other things you could say in an attempt of humor, and unnecessary also not be the place for bringing in that humor in that.
Exactly. I mean, I think so. Humor is a great way to basically connect with clients a lot of times, but we need to be really mindful of how we bring it in. And also,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. This is a session where this person was meeting this therapist for the first time. So, of course, it didn't went well. And of course, this person was like, what did you just say?
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah,
Okay, testing experiences can be hard if you don't have like a good psychologist.
this is just, again, like I said, you need to be careful about with, you need to take care of certain things with, psychiatrists or psychologists or mental health professionals. And now, of course, we are not saying that all therapists are bad or all therapists are good. It's just about that certain things which are said in certain sessions might not be the best thing. So you might want to change.
And often it can also be that a good therapist says something like that, and it it may also be an opportunity for you to have a conversation with the therapist. And like we talk about in therapy, this idea of rupture and repair, and maybe something the therapist has said has caused you distress or has caused you harm. And as a client, you are allowed to be like, hey, I don't like that you said that,
Yeah,
and I would prefer if you didn't say things like that. And I feel like clients don't know this, but they can, because there's such a power dynamic in
yeah.
therapy today.
So it is important for you to voice it out. If you don't like it, if you feel offended by it, or if you don't like the way they phrased it, tell them that, hey, this is something which I'm not comfortable with, the way you said it or whatever you said. And then there's space for rupture and repair. There's always,
Yeah, and sometimes I sorry, no, go ahead.
No. There was only, I was just saying there's always space for rupture and repair in a healthy therapeutic relationship with a client and a therapist and a safe space. But of course, when there's no safe space and the therapist doesn't understand this particular, nuance of
Yeah,
the space, I think so, then it goes to like what we are
yeah.
reading.
And sometimes a therapist might do it on purpose. Like they might say something that you don't like on purpose. Like there are times when I tell my client that I'm about to say something and you're not going to like it and I need you to still sit with it. And then
Yeah,
I tell them something and they're like, I don't like it. It's okay.
yeah. Actually,
That
I get that point, but that's, very, that's informed and that's also understandable. You have that rapport and
yeah,
you can't just do it in the first section itself. Like rapport is
yeah.
something, but
And
okay.
I, and I and I think that's really important. And I think because in a lot of these stories, like if I'm scrolling through it, a lot of them are stories where they are talking about in the first session, I only went to this person 2 times, I only went to this
Yeah.
person 3 times, I didn't have a lot of sessions. And so that really crucial component of rapport is missing.
Yeah, I think so. We don't talk a lot about how rapport building is so important and essential to a therapist client relationship, but it is basis of that. But
Yeah.
okay. Anyways,
Yeah. Like I use a lot of humor in my sessions, but I don't use it in my first session.
no, that's not possible. Like either you develop that rapport and then you go towards that humor, or you are, cracking something which is like very basic humor. That's not client related humor. But if it's directed
Yeah,
towards
like a fun or
crack it in the first session, you just can't.
yeah, yeah,
Anyways, another one is from a therapist posting about like, give me the most absurd, things happen to you in therapy. And it's a comment from there, and I'm going to keep it anonymous for the sake of course, anonymity. Um,
right,
have you tried giving your problems to God? Me at 15. How do I hand my bipolar to him?
right, yeah. Like I get it because
Yeah,
whether you have like a physical health issue or a mental health issue, when there is that really heavy religious component, there is this whole like God will take care of everything like that.
Mike. Mike.
Oh, sorry. Yes, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but there definitely is that component when there is a really high level of religiousness within a therapy space. And again, absolutely, there is space for religion in therapy if that's what you as a client want. I have clients where I'm like, hey, it's been a while since we talked about going to the temple. Is everything okay? How have you been? Like, and that's for me, that's a sign that my client is not doing great because they're not doing this thing which is so important to them. But then I also have clients who are atheists, and I know that they don't share those same beliefs and they don't share those same values. And to them, I'm not going to be like, oh, why don't you go to the temple, or why don't you go to the church, or why don't you go to the mosque, or why don't you go to the gurudwara and like, talk to God about the topic because I know that that's going to be unhelpful.
So it is just at the end of the day, I understand that, some people are spiritual and religious and that might work for them. But of course, I think so it needs to be used properly in certain situations. Like you can't just hand your problems to God. I mean, for some people, it might work. It just might work. Like, okay, I will just place my complete faith into like this, one entity. But at the end of
Right.
this did not feel like a conversation that made me feel like, oh, this 15-year-old feels like they believe in God a lot.
No, and also, this again sounds like it's the first time that a conversation has happened.
Yeah, I mean, it could be
Right.
first,
So,
even second, but it's like sort of you've not understood what sort of a client you are actually conversing
yeah.
with. So incompatibility also can be an issue.
Yeah. And the second thing is that they're talking about a very, like, she's not saying that, oh, I'm 15 and I'm dealing with academic stress and, like, oh, God will see you through it. She's talking about a very clinical disorder,
Huh,
you
yeah.
know. And it also feels like this person who she is talking to that has a lack of understanding of that as well. Like, there's a theoretical, foundational level lack of knowledge of what a clinical disorder like bipolar disorder means.
So again, like we say, moving on because there are a lot, and of course, I
Yeah,
want to.
yeah, yeah. We're definitely not going to be getting into all of them because,
Yeah.
frankly, there are so many Reddit threads and so many YouTube videos and Instagram reels about terrible therapy experiences and that terrible psychiatry experiences. But we're going to go through a few and at least talk about it. Yeah.
So another one, which basically is, um, yeah, my therapist told me I had too much trauma and that I should come back when I had less. Sorry, what? What? Is this the
The
first
first
time?
half of the sentence I still get. I still get the first half of it, right? Because as a new comer as a therapist, like when I had just started off therapy, there were a lot of times where in an intake session I would tell a client that, hey, I feel like
Going
your
through a
case
lot.
is a little out of depth for me. I don't have the skills or the capability
Yeah,
to work with it.
exactly.
And I would refer them to somebody else. The
Yeah.
second half is where they lose me.
You refer it out if you think that it's, not under your expertise or it's not under your scope or you can't actually handle it. And you talk to your supervisor about it if necessary. But at the end of the day, you don't tell the client that, oh, you have too much trauma. Come back when you have less.
Yeah. And like again, I've had conversations with clients and in the intake session itself where they have said that no, but I really like your approach and I want to work with you. And I said that hey, I don't work with XYZ
The,
concern,
yeah, exactly.
and so I won't be able to help you,
Yeah.
right? But I can, and there have been times when like there was a client who had a very clinical situation and they had schizophrenia. I said, see, I'm not a clinical psychologist
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
will not be able to help you with this. And they said, no, but I will seek support for schizophrenia elsewhere. But I'm also living life. So you help me out with like all the other stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was then part of their clinical care team
Yeah,
where they had a
exactly. A
psychiatrist, a
clinical
neurologist,
psychologist, a
another
psychiatrist,
therapist,
and a
and
counseling psychologist. Yeah.
yeah,
Make,
yeah, yeah.
no, but
And that's a different situation.
yeah, that's a whole different story. See, at the end of the day, we all have our limitations and we do admit that, oh, this is not something I can work with. This is something I am not, well versed with. So I am also very upfront about it. If somebody comes to me and they have, let's say, some disorder which I don't work with, I can't work with, I'm not trained in it. I'm very upfront because I'm also a counseling psychologist. So clinical
Yeah,
concern, certain type, I cannot really take up. But at the end of the day, I let them know that this is not under my expertise. You can go to somebody else and I refer them out. And I think this is a person you can, consult. I don't say that you have too much trauma. Come back when you have less.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
The comeback when you have less is where it's kind of
yeah, it's
an
just
issue. Yeah.
like,
The
why?
first half of the sentence, I also feel that like this is on the internet, they have also reframed it to be more pithy and catchy on the internet,
Yeah,
right? But I'm assuming, again, giving major benefit of doubt that it's some variation of, hey, this is not a situation I can work with, this is too out of my depth, and things like that. The second half is the comeback when you don't have trauma. Like, how are they supposed to get rid of it? Unless they have support and resources and care, whether it is social, whether it's therapeutic, whether it's psychiatric, whatever kind of support they need, until they get that, how are they going to work through the trauma that is there?
yeah. So, okay, Tanisha, again, your mic.
I can't, I cannot make it any closer. It is inside my mouth, Harshita.
Swallow it.
No, that is going to get edited and taken out of context so much. No.
Sorry. Coming back. Okay. I have another one, and this is a serious one. I told her about my sexual assault in between fifth and sixth grade, and she said, that's fine. Boys will be boys, laughing. Never saw her again. I think so. It's a blaring red flag. It's a blaring red flag in your face. Like, how
This
can
is
you
this
joke
is
about?
this is not a red flag. This is a lose your license situation.
Yes, exactly. Lose your license situation. Like, actually, don't sit there. Just leave it. You're not meant for it,
Like,
probably.
find a new profession.
Yeah, maybe you're not meant for this one because you just told a
Yeah,
client coming to you with such serious traumatic event of their life that, oh, and you joked about it. And I am so done with this phrase of boys will be boys. What
and
do you
you
mean by
dismissed
it?
them. Like, yeah, and also that's such a shitty thing to say. Like, part of my language, because are you just saying that? Like, you're saying all men, all boys are harassers and predators and abusers, and that's not true, and that's not the message you want to send to the boys who are being raised and boys of the next generation. You
Yeah,
know, why is that the messaging we're sending them? Like, why is it that we want them to look and say that, oh, this is what men are, and that's why I'm going to do this? Like, is that really what you want to be putting out there?
I mean,
You know?
this is the whole reason there's so much issue with the type of content which is displayed on our Bollywood screens, social media, and so many things. And there we are critiquing, oh, this character should not be like this, or this character needs to do better, and this and that, because this is not a great role model for the boys who are growing up. But at the same time, if mental health professionals are saying things like boys will be boys to
Yeah,
person who's, told you something very
victims. Yeah,
traumatic and something which is not something you can joke about. You can never joke about this. This is something a big no-no. Like, no, you can't joke about this.
yeah. I mean, honestly, firstly, humor in therapy is such a subjective situation. Like, even with, like, if I have three sessions, my sense of humor with those three clients will change based on the rapport I have with them, based on what they find funny.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Not every client likes humor and not every client likes every
Yeah,
type of humor.
yeah. And definitely when then you have to pick your time. Like, when somebody is telling you about a situation, especially for the first time, if it's been that we've talked about a traumatic situation like 7 sessions, and now we're talking about 10, and maybe then I can like make a fun about it or like say something sarcastic or like maybe, right? But the first time when someone tells me something, I have to be really present and emotionally available in that part. And it makes complete sense that this person never went back to that provider again.
Of course, nobody would. If I was like told this by my therapist, I'm gonna run in the opposite direction so fast that you won't be able to see me.
Yeah, I mean, I have had experiences like this where like I told a therapist about an incident, and they like this was I didn't tell her, so I told a psychiatrist about an experience that happened, and they were like, "Oh, did you imagine it?" Like,
Oh
and
my
they kind of try to be like, sometimes when we're really stressed, we can imagine things that haven't really happened and that sort of thing. And like, I never went back to that
God.
psychiatrist.
I mean, did they really tell you that you imagined assault?
Yeah. And I know, like sometimes we don't really understand, or especially when we're really stressed, we can make like our mind, like, and they try to frame it in like a very clinical way of like, oh, our mind sends us messages that are not real.
Dude, how can you imagine assault? Like, okay, I mean, I get it if it's if you have psychosis and you have an episode, still you should not be saying that to that person because it's a very traumatic thing which happened.
It's real for them,
Yeah, it's real
right?
for
It may not be real for anyone else, but it's real for them. Yeah.
even if it's, oh my God, first of all, look at your patient. Second of all, how dare you say that? And third, oh my God, even if it's imagined, you need to have empathy. What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not imagined. Like, how can you tell somebody that you imagined your assault? How dare you?
Yeah, I completely get why you would never go back to that person.
Oh,
Like I never went back to that psychiatrist, and I'm on like a lot of WhatsApp groups where the psychiatrist is there, and every time someone is like, "Hey, I'm looking for a referral for this," And that psychiatrist is like, oh, I work with this. I DM the first person and I'm like, hey, I don't want to cause drama, but like, I would not recommend this psychiatrist. Uh,
You're doing good job. You're doing social service. You're doing
I,
social
I
service.
I mean, and this psychiatrist is doing very, very, very well. Like they're constantly expanding and hiring and like they're doing well. So I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm saying like sometimes a good provider can also say something that is harmful. And so maybe this person is really good at dealing with other issues, but I have had a bad experience with them.
I mean, of course, I get it, but still, like that bad experience wasn't like just bad, Tanisha. It was like horrible. It can leave a mark in your head because already when you go through something so serious, you are already doubting yourself that is it serious enough? Did it really happen? Was it my fault? Did I do something not okay? Or
Yeah,
maybe I just interpreted it wrong or something like that, because I've come across clients who have told me certain things, and a lot of times you see them speculating that whether they were at they were in the wrong, or maybe they were not at the right place, and
yeah, yeah,
you're just reinforcing that, right? Because by saying that, you're already like saying that, yeah, probably you imagined it, nothing happened, you're just taking it too seriously.
yeah.
Sorry that happened to you. This is horrible. Also,
I mean, it's okay. It's been a while, so yeah.
yeah, I mean, nobody should go through that. At the end of the day, okay, we are running out of time as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah, of course. Yeah, we can.
yeah, we are going to wrap up here, I think. So, everybody who is watching this, this is not to discourage you from taking therapy. This is just to tell you that look at the credentials, maybe take a good, consultancy call with them, or at least look at their experience, talk to them. Incompatibility is always a possibility, but that does not mean that therapist is bad. It just means that you both are not compatible as a therapist and a client. But at the end of the
Yeah,
day, you hear a red flag thing, which, like we said right now, right? And it's been just the first session. Probably that therapist is not for you, or maybe you should not be going to them. So,
yeah,
the reason we are bringing up these stories is also, I think so, people who are starting therapy, and a lot of times people who have been in therapy don't really see that their therapist might be a red flag, in the sense they might be saying some things or doing some things which come under a serious issue which they might not be dealing with. So if your therapist, for example, starts talking more about their life, then I will be covering that. There's another example which I came across and I was like blown away. So
yeah.
we'll have another episode of this sorts. If you
I
liked,
had that experience also.
oh my God, there is no end to this. There is there. But okay,
No, no, yeah,
what we are trying to say is that be careful, be vigilant, and if you feel comfortable with a therapist, make sure that you do point it out if you're not comfortable with something they've said. It is important to voice it out. It's not like a power dynamic situation where you can't say anything. You have all control in that situation as well.
yeah.
So,
And sorry, just to add on another thing which happens is, like these are all situations where there's been a red flag in like the first session or like the first three sessions or whatever. It can also happen that you've been in therapy for like 2 years with the same therapist, and it's even harder then because they say something that really impacts you. And you're like, if I leave, I have to start all over again, and
yeah,
that I know holds back a lot of people, but it's okay to do that. And also, if you feel that way, you can bring that point up to the therapist's attention and see if it's something which can be repaired. And if you feel like no, that trust is completely violated, they can share notes with the new therapist, they can read the new therapist, you can speak to someone else, and that is also
yeah. So completely right, in the sense that it can happen at any time, but you need to be careful of that, whether your trust or whether, because at the end of the day, this relationship is what keeps the therapist and the client going in the whole process. And there will be no growth or benefit if this relationship ruptures and is not able to be, like, you can't repair it. So you have to have a conversation with your therapist and see whether there is a repair. If it's not repairable, it's something which has, ruptured, something which cannot be repaired at all, then it's better to change a therapist than to stick to that therapist if you are really feeling that this is going to, always come up. Like you can't really shake it off. So a lot of other things, and the reason we are talking again about these things is not to discourage anybody from taking therapy. It's just you be more mindful, be more aware, see if you're not comfortable, speak it, say it out loud.
Yeah, and it is about awareness because unless you have studied the subject or been in this field or been in therapy for a long time, you don't know what it's supposed to be like and what the right things are and the wrong things are. And
Exactly.
it's it's a new it's a new thing for someone who's not from this field, and it's okay for you to not know certain things.
Yeah.
And that's why we're trying to raise that awareness.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, you might also, the other part is that we don't want people taking in this message that, oh, this is how therapy is, because you had one bad experience and you think that, oh, this is how therapy is. No, it's not. If you had a bad experience and if you want us to talk about it, you can also share it in the comments, or you can anonymously like send me on the email. I'll be putting my email here. I'll also be putting Tanisha's Instagram handle, the Yellow Brick Road. And do go follow her, and she makes awesome content. She's a good therapist if anybody wants to, referral. Okay. And
Yeah, thank you.
and also, again, like I said, if you can't find hope, I wish hope finds you instead. And on that note, thank you, Tanisha, so much for actually coming and showing up on this video and talking to me. Tanisha has come before. The Yellow Brick episode is below. You can go watch. She has shared her story as well. A lot of stories she had. And I think so.
Yeah, that was almost a year, more
Yeah,
than a year
almost a
back.
year ago. Yes. And I'm so glad we got to do this again, Tanisha. And I hope we
Yeah,
can meet again on Insta as well, probably. We'll do a live or something like that.
absolutely. Yeah,
So everyone go follow Tanisha and maybe me as well. So and
yeah, go follow Arshita.
leave a comment below if you have something to share, or if you want to email me, that's also fine. Till then, take care and stay hopeful, people. Bye bye.